Blockchain technology has brought in a new business foundation, which will affect majority of the people on the planet Earth, and that will be actually through fintech. We have to actually talk about finance. The way it works now is actually becoming a pain point and frustration for many business in the era of new age technology. So now governments and regulators are pushing this away. They are actually allowing banks to offer services based on it. So that is actually important to understand. Then the question comes like, but there are a lot of fancy blockchains and digital assets. Which one to bet on? Which one will grow as a hegemonic force? Now, listening to this video will actually give us some idea about that and clarity, along with this article, because this one will actually direct us to kind of at least to understand or to see the future, because this area gives us the clarity. Now, this is not directly about XRP, but the way they present the information leads us to XRP. Now, not only these, we also have some research publications which really matters, because the governments and regulators are funding these scholars to do these studies and to report back to them. And if you actually go through that, you actually get a lot of information based on multiple sources. Say for example, they talk about BTC, then they talk about XRP. We'll actually go through these in detail, and then we have the charts, because price fluctuations are actually important for many. Price fluctuations, how the price is responding to different levels, different price points, and how the indicators are actually directing us in different time frames is actually really important, along with the fundamentals, because fundamentals are showing you what's going to happen in coming 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, or 10 year. But it is in the technicals what we understand how the price is reflecting, because along with the market cycle, the fundamentals, the technical things are really important to understand what's coming ahead. If you are receiving value out of the content, do hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification icon to get updated about the future videos. Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. The first scientific article is regarding central bank digital currencies, and they're actually talking about what is happening now. Now, that was in 2019. And the second one is about the entire crypto market. The perspective laid out is insightful. Now, when we actually go through the entire article, that will take a lot of time. But when we come directly here, say for example, this is actually about BTC. Now, we are not here for that one, right? We are here for XRP. Now, when we actually go through this, what we can understand is they are stating that XRP has a different purpose. We know that it's specifically designed to mediate conversion between currencies. We also know that, right? Now, that's a bridge asset. So they are actually pointing that out, along with the central banks detailing them, the central bank citations. Then they actually come to a point where they are actually showcasing that transactions in cryptocurrencies are subject to restrictions, lack of reversibility, and also that is the point where we have to actually understand that the regulations are actually coming into play. So others who are actually unregulated players, for them it's actually really difficult. And now that the central bank digital currencies are actually becoming the norm, there is no doubt about the role of a bridge asset. So when we come down in this article, as we showed previously, they are actually broadly pointing out central bank digital currencies as the next wave of digital assets, as legacy players try to leverage digital ledger technology to do what? Lower the cost and settlement times while expanding operating hours. Meaning now it's 24/7, right? Previously you can't do that on Saturday, on a Sunday, holidays, you can't do the transactions through a bank. But now with this technology, even banks can actually allow their customers to do this, and that's instantly, right? The settlement is not happening after 3 days or 3 months. Then what about many other coins? Let's actually listen to what the Quant CEO actually states here. It will actually give us a bit more idea.
They will not buy all these new fancy blockchains. They will not integrate them into their environments because they don't have instability. They will not get the next best consensus from Tron and Neo and you name the next one, whatever you call it, like, whatever the next blockchain is. All this stuff that comes out, enterprise will not adopt it because if they use that technology, they install it within their environment, they run it and integrate it within their applications. And if they want to move, they can't. This people need to understand this is not an acceptable risk for enterprise. They cannot afford to be locked into any technology. It's not blockchain because they need a way to move between technology, brands, versions, flavors, stacks seamlessly without impacting the business.
So the use case is so important, and about the supply and other FUDs will actually go to them. But before that, do understand everything is actually leading to the interledger protocol, how you can actually deal from one ledger to another, how to move the value from one ledger to another. Now we know that a lot of FUD related to XRP is actually coming in. As the number of individuals who are coming in positive for XRP, there is also equivalent amount of FUD coming. Now, many actually talk about the supply and the OTC sales, and yes, for the newcomers they will have a doubt regarding the supply, how the supply is being managed, what about the OTC sales, will that affect the price, are we gonna go down, all those questions. So as the volume spikes and it continues to slowly increase, the OTC sales are actually going down. Consider, from the actual buying, they will be actually buying, right? That doesn't mean if Ripple, the company, is reducing the total amount of OTC sales, that doesn't mean that the institutions are not actually buying it. Because in the previous report, we actually saw that Ripple actually stated this: there is enough market liquidity, you can directly buy it from the market, until you want a huge buy, you can actually take it from us. So when you actually look at that, you can see 1.75 million worth of XRP in Q1. So that is not that huge, because when you consider the previous quarter, it was 13 million. So considering that, that's 1/10 you can say, right? So the sales is substantially down from the side of Ripple, and that is actually a positive news. And for those who have the common sense, they can understand that these buys are actually going in the market price and in the market now. So say when the price was really down during the first quarter of this year, institutions were hoarding or accumulating. What are you doing? Are you buying? Now, if you're buying, that's completely up to you and the research and information which you already have. But what I would like to point out is the banks, central banks, all the financial institutions are actually coming in. And at this point, what we have to consider is this fluctuation of the price. Now, let it be in a smaller time frame or a longer time frame. That depends on what kind of investor you are. Are you looking for 2 years, 3 years? Are you actually following the price on a daily basis? Are you looking the fundamental changes and all? So in that aspect, we can actually look at this particular trend line, which we're standing there from last 1 year. Now that we tested that area and broke above that, we can actually move in close. Shorter time frame charts. This is a 4-hour chart of XRP, and there is no lines in that. We'll have to plot them. So when we are plotting that, we can actually clearly see that the price is moving like this. Say you have a trend line going like this. Now that we are below the trend line, do understand there usually used to be a trend line with standard deviations. Now when we say standard deviation, it should be plotted on the positive side and the negative side. So when you're actually looking at that, we are in a uptrend. At least for me and my chart analysis, for me this is actually positive. So once we actually break above this, then the next will be somewhere here. So if we extend this line, you can actually get to see where we are up to. So that resistance line will be somewhere here around 0.243 to 0.2425. But once we break that, then the next target will be around 0.29, 0.3. Because as you can see, we went into that, came back, then wicked nearby that came back. So if we are to do the same, next target for me is actually 0.3. But keep in mind, if we are actually coming down, retesting this support line at 0.2, keep an eye on the price. If that is bouncing from there, that's actually a good opportunity. But if it's actually breaking below down, then it's a bit of cautious, because it comes here, and if it breaks down, then the next support is around 0.19, and following that the next one is around 0.18. So if those levels are not holding, then there is a kind of danger, because that support line of 0.18, if you actually take a horizontal line and plot it here, the 0.18 line, if that is broken, then the long-term support area is broken, and we may actually come back retest that previous lows. But considering the change in this trend, chances for that looks bleak, but we can't neglect it completely. If you are receiving value out of the content, do hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification icon to get updated about the future videos.